I'd now like to take you forward to welcome our next speaker, Adrienne Gill. Adrienne is from Carlisle One World Centre, and I'm extremely pleased to introduce Adrienne. She has contributed so much to welcoming and helping refugees come into Carlisle and feel welcomed and safe. Adrienne is also putting Carlisle. She's put Carlisle forward for a city of sanctuary for all the work we've done with the refugees and making it a safe hub for them. So I'd like to. Is Adrienne? Are you there? That's great. I can't see you, Adrienne.
Hi there. I've just shared my presentation. Can you see that?
Hi. Hello. Yes, I can see you. All right. Hello. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And thank you for the lovely introduction, Sonia. Right. So I'll go. So I'm Adrienne Gill, Development Officer with Carlisle One World Centre. And I'm going to talk today about life as a refugee in Cumbria. I'm not a refugee myself. I'm Irish, an adopted Cumbrian. I've been living here for 15 years. Hopefully you can still hear that I'm Irish. I like to think that I've kept my accent. Sometimes I think it's gone, but then I listen back to a recording on the radio or a Zoom call and it's still there. So I think it's very much part of your identity, and yeah, I'm proud to be Irish and Cumbrian. I'm from Dublin originally, and I've lived in various countries since I graduated in the mid-90s, including Malawi and Eritrea on the beautiful continent of Africa. When I was in Eritrea,
Adrienne, you've muted. We can't hear you.
Hi there. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Good. And can you see photos of Eritrea?
Yes, we can.
Great, good. Thanks, Sonia. So when I was working there, I worked there for a while with the UN, and I met my first refugees or internally displaced people from the Eritrea-Ethiopia conflict in the early 2000s. So these are some of the people I met on a visit to a camp one day. And it was very moving and a great experience to meet the people. I've got an error message coming up, but I'm going to continue, hopefully all good. Right. So we're talking about refugees in Cumbria. These are some snapshots of Cumbrian life as a refugee. So life in 2020 is a bit different, isn't it? Those photos are from events and activities from the last 3 or 4 years. And we had to put in the obligatory Zoom call screenshot from one of our drop-in sessions. And that's one that's familiar to us all here. Right. So before I go any further, a bit of an interactive exercise. We'll try anyway. I'd like to ask you to close your eyes just for a minute or less. And we're going to travel together to a not so far away parallel universe, one where Cumbria is not a safe place to live anymore. So it's 2 p.m. Just looking at my clock there. You have to leave at 4:30 today because it's not safe anymore. You can take your immediate family with you. You're lucky. You'll have to leave some people behind though. There'll be a plane waiting for you at Carlisle Airport to take you somewhere safe. So that's in just over two hours. And it's hand luggage only. You can only bring 3 small items with you. What would you take? What would you bring? Just have a little think there for a moment. You can only bring 3 things. Okay, open your eyes and write them down, or you can post them in the chat either. And now I'd like you to watch this.
Is it supposed to not have any sound, Adrienne?
No.
Yeah, there's no sound. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I might ask Rich to play it again. Hi, is Rich there? Could he play this, please?
Did you send me this one? I've got 3 videos from you. Was it the...
It's the Amnesty link. Oh, we can come back to it maybe. So the idea is that it could happen to any of us, and the people in the video are refugees from the UK. I can move on. Right. So just fast forward to the text at the end. Okay. Right. So this is the main message from that film, that no one leaves home unless home is the mouth of a shark, words of a poet, Warsan Shira. And it's just something really for everyone to bear in mind when they try to imagine how it is to be a refugee. Okay. So I'd like to go back to Cumbria's history of welcoming refugees, especially those from conflicts in the last century. People came to Cumbria fleeing the Spanish Civil War, conflicts in Bosnia, Vietnam, and famously the survivors of the Holocaust concentration camps, some 300 young Jewish children. They were flown to Carlisle Airport 75 years ago in August 45, and they spent several months being looked after at Colgarth Estate near Windermere. When Cumbria started to prepare for the refugees from the crisis in 2015, we were contacted at Carlisle Refugee Action Group by volunteers who had links to the above groups, people who'd worked with Bosnian and Vietnamese refugees, and donors and benefactors from who are connected to the Spanish Civil War and the Windermere Boys, which they're called. So there's a really strong connection between the historical welcome of refugees and what is going on today. And that's really exciting. It's just some images there, and a recently published book about the county's welcome to refugees. So the crisis, which came to a head in 2015, obviously it wasn't the first and it won't be the last major global refugee crisis, but it's been huge. Over half the population of Syria, a country that's been at war since 2011. So over half the population, some 7 or 8 million people have had to leave the country, and millions of others from the region have been affected and displaced by the crisis. And with people coming to the mainland of Europe, it's affected many countries, especially Greece, Italy, and others. We've got some memories, I suppose. The image of the little boy, Alan Kurdi, from early September 2015. We've all got that image in our minds. His legacy would live on. Around that time, early September 2015, several governments, including this one, announced new resettlement programs for refugees from the Syrian crisis. And that's how Cumbria came to be involved in the current program. So the Cumbria County Council pledged to bring in 300 refugees from Syria and the region shortly after that time. The first families arrived in 2017 due to the delays caused by Storm Desmond and the fact that so many people who would have been involved in the resettlement program were occupied with another crisis. So that was unfortunate, but it meant that volunteers such as ourselves at Carlisle Refugee Action Group could be ready to welcome the families when they did arrive. So over 240 people have come to date, and another 130 or so are due to arrive over the next couple of years. They're mainly living in the urban areas of the county, which makes sense, and I'll go more into that later. And we've got 23 families living in Carlisle at the moment. I've just got some statistics from the UN, which said that some 80 million people are forcibly displaced at the moment in the world, which is a huge number. Obviously it breaks down into those who are internally displaced, which are the people I met in Eritrea on camps, dependent on rations and donations and not having a life at all. And I really hope that they've been rehoused, gone back to their homes now, but because of the war with Ethiopia, their homes weren't safe 2 years later than that. And there's also asylum seekers, but I know these statistics are really small, but if you look at some of the smaller figures, some 40% of the world's displaced people are children. That's really, really shocking. And, obviously their lives will be affected so strongly by having to leave their homes and seek refuge. And you'd like to hope that they're being cared for by their parents or other adults. They're not all cared for. Some of them are unaccompanied and need as much care as possible that they can get. And there are other statistics there which I could send you if you wish. So it's 1% of the total world's population is displaced at the moment. Carlisle Refugee Action Group, so stepping back to 2015 again, it was set up in the summer when the situation in the jungle in Calais was coming to a head, and there were several thousand people living in that camp around the town of Calais, and they needed basically humanitarian aid, which volunteers got together brought down, and we're still doing that, sending aid to displaced people living around Calais and Dunkirk in northern France. And we also work with partners sending aid to Greece and other camps around Europe. And we also send financial donations to groups who are working on the ground, housing and providing basic needs to refugees. And we've had some connections with Turkey and other countries as well. So these are just some images from the work that was going on around that time, including the Dunkirk Adult Learning Centre that one of our volunteers, Sarah, set up. Back to Carlisle. So again, we had that announcement in late 2015 that we would be welcoming refugees, and we spent time preparing for it, and that's Amnesty, the local Amnesty group, doing a campaign shortly before the families arrived. Now I'm going to try and play another video, so wish me luck, and we'll just let me know, please, Sonia, if you can hear this. Actually, the sound doesn't start for a couple of seconds, so still silent.
No, we don't have any sound. We can see it. There's no sound.
Right, we might have Rich come to the rescue here. Shall I pause?
Yeah, Adrienne, do you want the first video played as well? I've got that one lined up, ready to go as well. So do you want me to play that one first, then this video?
Yes, please. Thank you so much.
No worries.
Thank you. First, and then life after several years in a refugee camp. Thank you.
Crisis has prompted an emergency parliamentary session this afternoon.
The violence on the streets has forced many people from their homes.
Have been found dead in the back of a truck, trying to make their way across the border.
The government is under fire from all sides for the way it's dealing with this crisis.
It was bad at home. We had to leave. Dad couldn't come. I don't know where he is now. Mum says we're going somewhere safe. She's trying to be brave. Someone told me these boats sink all the time. We couldn't stay in London. It was too dangerous.
Most of the European refugees are trying to make their way south. They believe that Africa provides a chance for a better life.
They put us in prison. I don't know what we've done wrong. I'm scared.
We have tough decisions to make.
We cannot treat these people like animals.
There are so many whites living around here now.
It is my taxes that are going to support these people.
With no end in sight to the migrant issue, the government must be wishing that the problem would just go away. But that doesn't look likely. Back to you.
Okay, and there's one more clip, but I'm also conscious that I don't have much time left, so
You're okay. You've got time. We've got time to watch the other video. Just gonna see if Rich is.
Have you got it, Rich?
Almost, yeah.
I've got lots of nice pictures.
That's quite a moving video.
It's amazing. Yeah, I'm glad I was able to show it.
Thank you for sharing that.
Mm-hmm. So this is thanks to Hannah McNulty of ITV. This one.
All the sights and smells of a traditional Syrian kitchen. These beautifully prepared dishes have taken most of the day to make and are a taste of home for those making new homes in Carlisle.
I lived Syria in 2012. I got to Jordan. First, I lived in Jordan about 6 years. Then I came to here, to UK. Now I'm living in Carlisle.
A simple statement from Samir, but the reality is far more complex. He invited us to film with his family as he prepares to mark his first year in the UK. He comes from the southern Syrian city of Dara. It became known as the birthplace of the uprising in 2011, when anti-government protests first turned violent. He wants to carry out some of this interview in English, but also has help from an Arabic translator. Samir, could you tell me what the violence was like in Dara?
The situation was very bad when the violence happened between the Syrian regime and the protesters. I wasn't happy with how I was being treated and how things were going. The regime started making random arrests and some people were killed. I felt that wasn't a safe place to live with my wife and kids, so I decided to leave and we went to Jordan.
They lived in the Zaatari refugee camp until 2018. The vast site became a home of sorts to at least 80,000 Syrians fleeing the war with no financial means to go anywhere else.
We didn't have the same safety we were used to in our own home. Electricity and water was difficult. In the 7 years I was there, it was on for just a couple of hours a day to charge our phones or do anything. It was a very difficult time for us, but we didn't have any other option.
When the UK said it would take up to 20,000 Syrian refugees, they applied and were accepted. The smile on Samir's face when he recounts this tells you everything you need to know.
I can explain in a very simple way. I felt like I'd won the lottery.
My dream came to
As well as his wife and 3 children, he was able to bring his parents too. Coming together to eat with family and friends is an important tradition, and one where they now get a chance to talk once again about something that's been put on hold, their futures.
Everything here nice, everything beautiful, people very nice.
I was very happy when we came here about how we were treated. When I received my residence permit, I saw I could work from the first day I was here. This didn't happen in Jordan in 7 years, and I was very happy. People around here treat us nicely. They're helping us. County council, volunteers, all the help they provide for us as refugees. I can't imagine how they treat their own people if they treat refugees like that.
Back in Syria, Samir studied IT and worked as a taxi driver. He enjoys cooking and he's keen to return that hospitality, starting with introducing all his guests to traditional Arabic coffee.
Wow. To make it hot.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really nice. While he's currently working on improving his English, he hopes to continue his IT studies and find work, perhaps in the food industry.
But run across the...
This is how much his family life has changed. A year ago, they were in one of the world's biggest refugee camps. Now they're enjoying the space and the tranquility of the Cumbrian beauty spot of Talking Tarn. They've come a long way in every sense. Hannah McNulty, ITV News.
Hi. Right. Shall I go back to my presentation?
Yes, please do. Thank you.
Okay, right. 5 minutes. Okay, slide. So that was some there. We'll go forward. Yeah, the first families arrived in 2017, and Crag went about welcoming them all. And what we do is we help them out with toys, and we also help with things that the council don't provide, like TVs and bicycles. We've been running weekly drop-in sessions, basically every week for the past 3.5 years. We've done something now on Zoom. Support with English language and driving skills, additional cultural groups, sports, so swimming for the women, outings, activities, helping them to get involved in community life, things like tree planting with Sustainable Carlisle, and working to educate the local community by producing Mythbusters, going on Radio Cumbria, and working with the local press about the refugee crisis and where the families are coming from, really. Hosting welcome events. This is our mentoring, our help with English at the drop-in sessions, our beautiful international women's group that we run with Multicultural Cumbria, Tina and Zaj, and also Awaz Cumbria, helped us set it up, and it's a brilliant project. And we have monthly coffee mornings also now on Zoom. And in normal time, we host events to mark International Women's Day, and usually there's a lot of good food, and the bulk of that is often provided by our Syrian and other refugee friends. Outings to Talking Tarn, we saw a clip of that, and we've supported the refugees to take part in the culture bazaars, and they've had 3 now, and also the Carlisle Unity Festivals. The first group won an award, Community Champions, in the Diverse Cumbria Awards last year, for all they've done to support the others who've come into the county. So that was a fantastic night and such an honour for that group. They're so proud. And this is Fran's takeaway that he set up a few months ago, Syrian meals on Botchergate. So that's Samir from the video there, and he was very proud to set this up. So there are challenges and opportunities, both for the refugees and to all those who are supporting them around the county. Language, learning English is a huge challenge, just to do things like pass the theoretical driving test is a massive barrier, and something everyone's working towards, and cultural understandings. So for us to understand Ramadan and how that works, and for the refugees to understand how Cumbrian life works, and then do things like finding jobs, and that's huge, and it's an ongoing challenge. COVID restrictions, I don't need to say anymore, and also supporting other refugees and asylum seekers in the county outside the main refugee programme. We'd like to hope that because there are more communities in place now and more infrastructure, that other refugees will benefit from this programme. And then there are a few cities of sanctuary in the county, Penrith and I believe Kendal, and Carlisle is also embarking on the process of becoming a city of sanctuary, which is really exciting. There is racism. Some of the refugee families have had bad experiences, and there have been some attacks and some hate crimes, which is very sad to report. I'd like to hope that most of the families that we work with have had mostly positive experiences, but there are some negative experiences around the county. Cumbria is mainly a rural county, as you know, and it's important to note that refugees should be settled somewhere where there are facilities where they can buy appropriate food and worship if required. And Cumbria County Council is working with groups like ourselves and housing providers to ensure that they're placed in the best place for them to settle. And finally, I asked some of the refugees around the county for some words, and I know I'm running out of time, but some of the things that came out strongly with how happy they are to be here, about their children. That's what they want, to give their children a good opportunity for them to go to school and have a good life, for them to feel safe, for them to be role models to their children. Yeah, these are great little testimonials, and I'd be happy to send them to anyone who wants them. It's all about the future. It's all about just having a good life where they can plan ahead and care for their families in a safe environment. And many thanks to all those who've helped them. These last words are important. That people might listen to these words and might get emotional for a few minutes, and then everyone will go and forget, but we will stay with these feelings all our lives. Oh, I hope you won't forget. So this is like a summary of the words from those little testimonials, and then these are some of the values of CRAG: compassion and solidarity, and we care. So there's a lot of overlap there, as I'm sure you can see. And one of my last pictures is a group refugees planting trees in Bitts Park with the mayor a couple of years ago, putting down roots. And I'm finished. Sorry, it was quite a long presentation. It wasn't my excuse to get out of questions, really. That's me.
It was